everybody, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel, Karen Norwood Travel. Have you ever thought of how to book a camping trip, or what steps you might want to think about taking before you book or reserve a camping spot? Well, I'm about to show you how, so let's get started. All right, so the very first thing I like to do whenever I'm planning a camping trip is always go check the weather first. Yes, I do normally plan for indoor and outdoor activities for whenever I'm camping, but if there's going to be like a major snowstorm or a hurricane or something, that's going to be a little bit harder to reach around. So we're going to be using Mistletoe State Park as our kind of sample in this video. So I'm going to go to Appling, Georgia and see. Okay. So, and I'm just on weather.com. Normally you can use pretty much any weather site and it's going to show you like today's weather. They do have on here where you can look at weekend weather. See, like weekend weather, that's going to be like this weekend, and then it even shows you next weekend if you're booking that. Sometimes you can do 10-day. And it just kind of gives you an idea of what weather you need to pack for and what type of clothes you're going to want to bring. So that always kind of gives me a good idea before I actually book the trip. The next thing I like to do is actually go to the state park website. If it be Georgia, you have georgiastateparks.org. Most states have a state park website that you can go to. The Georgia State Parks website is awesome. It has all kinds of places where you can go and look. It even has like find a park. It'll show you a map of all the different state parks that you can stay at if you had a particular area that you wanted to stay in. Say, for instance, you wanted to check out North Georgia, or you wanted to be somewhere near Savannah. There's state parks that you can check out. Again, the one that we're interested in today is Mistletoe State Park. So you see there it is right there. And you can click on it. The map is interactive, and it brings you straight to Mistletoe State Park's kind of main page. Just as a little bit of an FY tutorial, it has different links over here that you can choose from. It also gives you kind of a brief description of the website, excuse me, the park here. And then it also has some great links that you can use down here to find different types of camping that you might want to do. Say, for instance, see they have 93 different tent, trailer, and campsites. They also have some backcountry campsites as well as some cottages that you can check out. One of the other important things to know is obviously to get an address. They do have maps from here to give you directions, but also fees and passes. I don't like to be surprised by anything when I go camping, so I like to be able to know, how much is it to park, what are the office hours, so that I know, and park hours, if I know if I'm coming in at 11 or 12, to have already called the campground and asked, do they have a locking gate? Is there a code that I can use to get in late? Things like that are important to know. So the next thing I want to do is I actually want to look at the actual park and see if what the rates are to stay. So say, for instance, I wanted to stay in one of the cottages. Then I would kind of look through here and find one of the cottages listed. I think, let's see, you can pick up here one of the cottages, and then it's showing you some information about the cottage. See, it shows you a little map of where they are within the campground, and it gives you some really good details about it, like how many bedrooms there are, how many bathrooms, do they allow animals in the cottage. Some campgrounds do, some of them do not, so that would be important information to know before you get started. See, like here it says type of pets allowed, dogs only. And so I've put a date in to see what the cottages cost. It looks like they are $165 per night, and then it's $11.55 if I'm going to stay for a whole week. And you basically would just put your dates in of when you would like to stay. So we also want to check on campgrounds. So I'm just going to back up here until we get to like a regular campsite where you would use your RV camping. All right, now here it clearly tells me I've chosen correctly because it gives me the price right here. It's $32 a night. This particular campsite has electric. It tells the max amount of people. It even gives you an amperage of how much the electrical hookup is. I've been told that some of the larger RVs need the higher amperage, so this 20 and 30 may not be enough for some of the like bigger RV campers. And then like this one even has full hookup, which means it has water and a sewage hookup, which is fantastic. But see, it just has all kinds of different ways that you can look at different things and determine if this is somewhere you'd like to stay. And I hope you noticed too, the standard campsites here at Mistletoe are 32, but see the ones that actually give you a sewage hookup, they jump up to 35. So just make sure you know how much things are going to cost before you get there. I think that's important to know how much it's going to cost, how long you're going to stay, how much like the parking pass is, if there's any other fees that you have to pay. And then something else I like to check out because my husband and I really like to hike is what are the things that do they have any hiking trails around that area? And usually they'll have a spot up here at the top that has like events that are going to be going on during that time. It's a photo gallery that shows you different pictures of that campground. And then they have, if they have specific trails to that state park, they'll have a whole special trail map that you can use. Let's see. There we go. Now we can see it, right? So you see here where it has different colors for the different trails, and then it usually describes them on a second page. So I like to know what kind of trails they have before we even get there to determine if that's something we might like to do. As I said earlier, that whole indoor outdoor activities, if it's sunshine or if it's raining or if it's really, really cold, this may not be something we want to do. When it's cold, we may not want to do trails. So that's something I always like to do. And then another fun thing to do, my husband and I usually like to check out the surrounding area. When we go to state parks, we don't always just stay at the campground. But they have this great part of Georgia state parks. I'm sure other state park websites do this as well. I'm more familiar with the Georgia State Park website. But it'll have things here where it says things to do and see. This will all be things that you can do and see within the campground. And then they have nearby attractions. So these are all places that are close by to the campground, things that you might be interested in checking out. Other state parks, and then they have historical areas that are interesting to see. But something else that you can do is, again, as I said earlier, there's an events section where you can click over here and it'll show you all the events that may be going on at Mistletoe during the time that you're there. So that's always interesting. Do keep in mind we are still dealing with COVID, so there might be some changes. If there's some inclement weather going through, it may affect an event that they may be having. Something else that's neat, just for, if you're familiar with Google, I like to put in here things to do. And usually if you've been looking at certain areas, it's going to pop up like things to do near Appling, Georgia. And see, the very first site is Appling's tourism website. 10 best things to do in near Appling, Yelp. Again, my husband and I always like to try and check out the surrounding areas, fun things to do around there. Are there antique stores that might be interesting? Are there particular entertainment sites or historical sites or whatever you're interested in, great shopping or great restaurants that you might want to check out? Just enjoy the surrounding area. Now you need to settle on a particular campsite. So what I've done is I've come back to the Mistletoe availability and I'm at the campground map. And say for instance I'm interested in this campground 19. Now again, it gives me a little brief description of what it has, and it reminds me how much it cost. It says I can see detail, and that's when I told you it gives you all of the specs for that particular campsite. And then we have a map here that it's showing us where it is. So let's see, if we click on the map, we can zoom up to that area, and we are campsite number 19. And so if I zoom out a little bit, you see that you can tell where you are within this particular loop. It shows that there's parking in this area. The closest comfort station looks like it's over this way. So if you really want to be close to a comfort station, that may not be as close as you would like for it to be. If you need handicap access, you might want to try and look at something closer. It also is showing you some of the other things that are on that are near you. Like this star is telling you that they have laundry services, again parking, and then here's where the dump station is for your RV if you have an RV. So this kind of gives you an idea if you wanted to camp with somebody. Well, look at there's two spots that are right next to each other. That might work out perfectly. Or if you want a drive-through for your camper so that you don't have to back into a campsite, these drive-throughs are awesome. Now that one's not available, but I just wanted to let y'all know that that's what that is. So here is when you would actually pick that that's the one you want. And say see detail, and then it's taking you over here again. It's telling you that it is available, and this is where you book your dates. If you have an account with the Georgia State Parks website, then this is where you would type it in and everything. And I usually recommend just paying the first night. Georgia State Parks has a policy where you can cancel and they just charge you a $10 transaction fee, but some other state parks might charge you more. They may keep your full amount of what you've reserved. So I'll usually just try and make sure that I've reserved for at least one night. One of the last things I was going to tell you to do is actually get paper directions to the campgrounds. If you're concerned about the area as far as having cell service, I definitely recommend having paper directions or some sort of paper map with you, because a lot of times with these campsites, they're in heavily wooded areas. They may be in mountainous areas that just don't get good cell reception, and you definitely don't want to be stuck on one of these little back roads and not be able to find the campground. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you just take a nugget or two from this information and it makes it easier for you to book your next camping trip, hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. I love making videos for you guys, and I do answer all comments. So if you have any questions or concerns or even any suggestions for future videos, please put it down in the comments below, and I will catch you on the next hike. Just wanted to remind everybody, I also have another channel called Chatting with Chops, where I have a lot of fun baking recipes for 2 or low-calorie baking, and then I love making my vegan bakes. So if you're interested in something like that, go check it out, Chatting with Chops.